I want to warn you that we are about to show you some video that is absolutely devastating and brutal. And it involves a man named Ronald Greene, a barber who back in 2019 failed to pull over for an unspecified traffic violation and was involved in a chase with police officers. When the chase ended, it was an absolutely devastating instance of police brutality that led to his family filing a federal wrongful death lawsuit, alleging that the troops brutalized him, left him beaten, bloodied, and in cardiac arrest before covering up the cause of his death. Now, as I said, this is all the way back in 2019. And for basically the entire time from then to now, Louisiana officials rebuffed repeated calls to release body cam footage of what actually happened, to give more details about what led to the 49-year-old's death. Initially, they told his family, and I want you to remember this as we move on, that he died on impact after crashing into a tree during the chase. They told his family that. Later, state police released a one-page statement acknowledging only that he struggled with troopers and then died on his way to the hospital. Well, now finally, a little bit of the video was acquired by the AP, and they've put out a bit that we're going to show you. But as we have said, this is very rough and difficult to watch. But that said, here's a bit of what happened.
I'm scared. I'm just scared. Get out of the car. I'm scared.
Mr. Greene was, to some degree, even though he had just finished leading police officers on a lengthy and high-speed chase, his inclination at that particular point was to acquiesce to what the officers wanted.
Let me see your hands. Put your hands behind your back. Give me your fucking hands. Put your hands behind your back. Taser. Put your hands behind your back. Behind your back. You're about to get it again if you don't put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. I'm sorry.
What's problematic for me is that Mr. Greene is now left on the ground, on his stomach, handcuffed in a prone position. And officers are trained throughout the United States that once there's a struggle of this nature, the individual's handcuffed, that you need to push him off onto his side or get him in a sitting position so you can allow that breathing to be unimpeded by his own body weight.
So what you just saw there was cops pulling someone out of their car and then murdering him. And then lying to the family. I can't even imagine, on top of the unimaginable loss of a family member, they said that he died in a car crash. Then eventually they said that he struggled. They knew for 2 years that he was killed, that they took him out of the car, repeatedly tased him, and beat him to death, basically. And that's what we see there. And even now, they're declining to comment on the contents of the video. I sort of understand why they really wouldn't want to say much. They said, sure, it's awful but lawful. And they didn't even do an administrative investigation into the death for well over a year. The mother says they murdered him. It was set out, it was planned. He didn't have a chance. He wasn't going to live to tell about it. You hear him screaming, crying out, saying how scared he was. And they just kept tasing him and kept beating him, dragged him by his ankle cuffs across the street.
Yeah, it's lawful, right? Because these people never get in trouble for doing this. And when they do, it's a rarity. How many people have been killed since George Floyd? It is trauma porn at this point. Everywhere we turn, there's another story. For some people, it's hits and views, and for other people it's triggering and it's trauma. You have to watch a reflection of yourself being lynched and knowing that it could be you, because it doesn't matter if you're 15, it doesn't matter if you're 12, it doesn't matter if you are a barber, it doesn't matter if you work at a school cafeteria, it doesn't matter if you're a man, it doesn't matter if you're a woman, it doesn't matter if you're transgender. We can find a person to fill every column in this country that have been unlawfully killed by law enforcement. And disproportionately Black people are affected, but Latinos are killed, Latinx people are killed at record numbers as well. And a lot of white poor people also being killed by the cops whose names you'll never know, because the media is racist and they know how to compartmentalize these things, because they dare not want to start saying everybody who's getting killed by the cops. And we start seeing all the faces, because that could very well call for some solidarity and some unity amongst the people who are at the bottom. But it's disheartening to watch. It is disgusting. It's cowardly. They're in a position of power, and it just continues to support the findings that the FBI had about the growth and the increase in numbers of people who belong to white supremacist groups being part of law enforcement. Yep. It's a serious problem that we continue to ignore and people continue to dispute. But that's a white supremacist that is not just murdering a black man, but also bragging about it later.
Yeah, bragging about it. Like, I don't understand why, like, it took so long for it to become relatively common for people to acknowledge that it seems like an issue that if you're gonna have a certain percentage of the population that for whatever reason really wants to kill someone, they can become criminals, or in theory, they can become cops and then wait a little while and they'll be allowed to kill people. That seems like an issue. It seems like something we should probably look into. But despite, a full year of protests and, all these different groups and individuals trying to draw attention to it, we now have a Democratic president, and maybe they'll do something eventually. Maybe there'll be a bill or something. No priority. And in the meantime, how many Ronald Greenes will there be?
Quite a few. And let's not forget the children. Let's not forget, the women. We talk about this presidency, and we talked about it during the election. We were voting for the lesser of two evils, because we were damned if we do, damned if we didn't. But the truth is, President Biden has shown that he is going to be who he's been. And though there have been some steps that have been taken in a direction that makes us feel like things are getting better, who are they getting better for? Not black people and impoverished communities that have to deal with cops that don't see them as human beings. Not poor Latin people who are being terrorized, and immigrants that come from all over the world that are not just from Latin America that are being terrorized by ICE. So who is it getting better for? You guys, a lot of people want to talk about taxes and fight about economics. People in certain areas of this country are just fighting for their humanity. And quite honestly, I'm really tired of seeing. It makes me feel bad. It takes away my, as the mother of a black son and a black daughter, it just makes me feel like hopeless. And most people find argument points to make in support of this stuff, and that is it's just very disheartening.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.